I took us live, Kostya.
Sweet. Nice. Nice. Okay, let me find our chats. Okay. All right, one viewer. That's probably me. Oh, two viewers.
That's you and me.
All right.
I didn't even put that together at first. I was like, I got to be able to watch chat to see what they say.
Oh, Agni changed her name. She's Chess with Agni now.
Yeah, I saw that today.
She used to be Agni, you know, last name.
Semnovichute.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, we got Toaster. Hello, Dover.
All
Hello,
right,
hello.
viewership has doubled.
Nice. Doubling by the minute.
Yeah.
Um,
So folks, as our first viewers, let us know if there's any problems with the video or the sound or anything like that. You know, if someone's too quiet, too loud, if there's echo, if the video's choppy,
yes.
if my computer's dying. We'd
Yes. Thank
appreciate the warning.
you. Mm-hmm. Gracias. Um, so I saw you guys were doing opening sparring the other day. What prompted that? Was it the new course or?
No, I think it's Jesse's. I think that was for Jesse's personal repertoire. He wanted his French challenged. So
I see.
yeah, I played his easy system.
Nice. Cool.
Okay, maybe Kostya
Um,
is a touch louder than me. Looks pretty close on my thing, but I'll nudge him 1 decibel. Thank you, everybody, for the sound check. Kostya, do you have an opening that you want to practice?
yeah, I have a few actually. I've been wanting to play more e4 and play more Najdorf.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I guess I'm yeah, looking to practice that with either color. Although I don't really I don't think I want to play e4 against Najdorf.
Mm. But it won't be
Because
bad to
for the
just
moment,
practice both sides of it a little bit.
yeah, it's just for the moment I don't have anything prepared there. So it would be uh it would be a bit random. It would just be me trying to reinvent the wheel, basically. Um,
Right. Well, why don't we pick 1/6 move to spar back and forth?
okay, just one.
Yeah, I mean, we're only going to get so many games in. If we get tired of it, we can move to something else. But
Sure.
I find it's like useful
Um,
to focus
oh, actually,
sparring
okay,
into some kind of
I got
slaughter.
one. I got one. How about six bishop e3?
Okay, sure. Fine idea.
That's the one. I need Rook G1 I faced recently. I'm cool with Rook G1. I got no I think I refuted it. I found like such a comfortable well
Yeah.
you saw that game. I think from the opening I was doing extremely well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it's also what Shanklin had told me to do against Rook G1. So you did good, Kostya.
There we go. There we go. I mean that's fantastic.
If you ever didn't have an opening that you wanted to spar, I would be happy to spar my opening course someday. Um, just to see what did I actually learn from all the work I put into it. So,
Yeah, it was two knights Caro, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I think I can play the black side of that at least for a couple
yeah,
games.
yeah. And if you can't, then you'll learn something real quick because I'll tell you what I think after the game.
Yeah.
So whether you know it or not, it's always useful, folks. Like sometimes people worry too much about sparring, like, oh, is this opening relevant to you and to me, and oh, am I good enough at it that it's actually challenging you if it's your opening and not mine, and maybe it's useless because I don't know this line as much or I haven't prepared it just now. But basically, if you know the opening well, then you're like testing the other person really nicely. If you know the opening badly, then they'll bring you up to their level really quickly with their comments between games. and then you'll learn something real quick. So basically, it always works out.
That's true. Yeah, you'll get a quick education of the opening. Um, although it will be suffering. It will be suffering.
Yeah. So let's do bishop e3 knight or Kostya. And do you want to maybe even subdivide e6 or e5? I think we could go one or two moves deeper with our focus even.
Well, with black, I'll be going e5.
Okay, then let's play bishop
But
e3, e5 with both sides.
yeah,
And I would even say that knight b3 and knight f3 are totally different lines. So
indeed.
do you want to face knight b3 or knight f3?
Um, let's do knight b3.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so I'm gonna try and challenge you to some games.
Yeah.
Do you want to play them all the way out or play to move 20 and evaluate?
What would be good? I think move 20. That sounds great.
Okay, so we'll go to move 20 and evaluate. So I will make a custom challenge to you.
Okay, I should be ready.
Okay, so we're gonna do 5 5s and then just agree to a draw at move 20 and evaluate.
Bueno.
I set it as unrated so I don't drain your massive rating.
Yeah, please. Oh yeah, this is the stuff.
He's getting into it already. Woo! Bishop to e3 in the Knightorvich. When you think about it, Nordovich should probably play the Knightorf. If he got really good at it, they might rename it the Knightorvich. That would be
Yeah,
a piece of chess history.
right. I like a variation.
All right, guys. The clocks are not really important, but I'm going to add them here anyway, just because someone's going to come in and ask for them at some point. All right. I was wondering about bishop h6, and perhaps you did too.
I didn't think about it that much,
Okay.
to be honest.
Fair enough.
Just thought bishop f2 and hmm, yeah, I wasn't sure.
It's kind of pointless since my queen's probably going to end up on d2 anyway. And I was thinking, should I play 12 queen d2 or castles?
Oh right, yeah.
By the way, folks, Kostya is in Hamburg now, for anyone tracking his itinerary.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. His second tournament after Reykjavik was Grenki, which he completed. And now he's got about a week before he goes to Spain. Maybe 8 or 9 days till he heads to Spain. In Spain, he's doing a training camp and playing a tournament.
That's right.
In Hamburg, he's visiting a chess historical site, the offices of the Chess-Base Corporation, or Chess-Base GmbH.
Yeah.
The knight on b3 continues its peripetations. You read a local chess club for the first time. Beautiful. Hey Ash, we can't easily reach the 6 bishop e3 knight or by playing the Pirz or Ruenfeld. So we're gonna have to decline that request, I'm afraid. Apologies. All right. Key moment of the game, and perhaps of my life. Hmm. Later, Johnny. I got 14 seconds to make time control. Chat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll offer you a draw. Okay, I don't know how precise our last two moves were towards the end, but my general feeling was the game was playable for both of us.
Yeah. Um, yeah, actually, I didn't really like my position towards the end here because, like, I didn't know what my next moves are gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
So this is starting to feel tough.
Mm.
Actually, wait. Now that I'm looking at it, now I realize I can just take on f3 and go knight fd7 next.
Instead of queen e7, maybe?
No, after queen e7.
After queen e7. Because after
Because
queen
now I'm defending
e7,
f7. Or even knight g4.
okay, we only had a couple seconds here, but when you played queen e7, did you have a plan against rook e1?
No.
Yeah. Um.
But yeah, maybe rook e1 is a problem. Maybe I should have gone like rook c7 or something.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was vaguely expecting was rook c7 and then maybe even rook c to e7 on the next
Mm-hmm.
move. But defending f7 is just somewhat useful. Um, it'll give you options of playing like ef3, queen f3, knight g4, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you not play ef3 and knight d7 yet? No, because of f7. That's why you put your queen there as well. Okay. Yeah, so maybe rook c7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to hope that I was slightly better because of, like, I don't know, my structure.
Mm-hmm.
But all the simplifying variations never looked good for me. Like, as far as I could tell, everything you calculated with e4 and knight c5, and, you know, I could take on c5 or go bishop g5 or take on e4. I didn't see anything good for white in any concrete lines.
Yeah, that seemed okay.
So what was I slightly worried about? Knight c3, rook e8. Yeah, bishop d4 was not the move I wanted to play. It was just that I couldn't find anything awesome. I think what upset me here was bishop g5, queen d7. And then I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
really find the point of the bishop on g5.
Yeah.
It felt like it was just kind of going to dangle, and you'd put a knight on e4, and then we'd simplify.
Mm-hmm.
And things would be pretty close to equal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like I would play super differently as white necessarily next time. I didn't think I did anything terrible nor anything great. I might, you know, play the same kind of position.
Mm-hmm.
I thought your e4 move was correct. Yeah, I thought everything you did was right, honestly. Every single move.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me check a computer eval in the final position to see how close we were to right. I guess I would say it should be about plus 0.1 or something, because I don't think you've done anything wrong, nor I. Let me see what this thing says. It says you should play e3 in the final position, not rook c7.
yeah, so queen e7, rook e1 was a problem.
What
Um,
would be wrong with rook c7 though? It says I could then play fe4. I was wondering if I had this combination actually, Kostya. I hadn't finished calculating it, but I was wondering about rook c7, fe4, knight fe4, bishop g7, king g7, bishop e4, knight e4. And I think we can get the same position if you take with the c knight before the f knight. I still trade the bishops. And then
oh yeah.
queen d4 at the end, forcing the knight to f6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or so I thought. And then trying to double rooks on the f file. I was wondering if this was like a winning
Yeah,
continuation.
looks bad.
I
Yeah,
just
so
didn't have any
fe.
time once I played bishop d4 to calculate for sure if I was doing this or not.
Yeah.
Putting it on the board yet. Oh, there's rook e5, right? Rook e5?
Yeah, but there's gonna be like knight b5 and then rook f4, rook f1 anyway.
Right, so like I double, the knight goes to e8 or something, the knight goes to b5, that rook goes to e7, and do I have anything in particular? I don't know.
Right. Wait, how did you get this?
Oh, sorry. So after rook c7, I traded on e4.
Yeah.
And then I played knight fe4, bishop g7, king g7, bishop e4, knight e4, queen d4, knight f6,
Okay.
rook f3. Oh, maybe knight b5 first, Kostya, so the rooks trip on each other.
Yeah, knight b5.
Because then the e8 rook can't go to e5 if I throw in this
Mm-hmm.
tempo.
Yeah.
Knight b. Wait, and also there's queen takes b6 here, isn't there, as well as knight b5? So this line
But
must
I think
be.
knight b5 and rook f4.
Yeah. But I mean, if queen b6 is just hanging, then we know this position's winning for white without even calculating a win. Knight b5 looks probably more winning. Okay, so after b3, my computer here says you have to play e3, and then rook e1, and it looks like I'm a little bit better.
Yeah. So I guess I should have taken on f3 much earlier. Guess instead of rook e8.
Okay, so let me go to like right when the knight comes to c3. Yeah, my computer agrees with that. It says ef3 right then, and it says I should take with my g-pawn to keep your knight at bay. Otherwise, I would be much worse. I was planning to go queen f3. Mistakeovich, knight g4, and then bishop d2. Now that I put it on the board, it's kind of obvious. You have queen h4, bishop e5, knight e5, lots of squares.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't really make sense for me. Okay. So, that's interesting.
So yeah, it's ef and knight
So
g4.
break with e4 as soon as you can, and then just trade it off. Just creating a
Mm-hmm.
majority situation on the king side, right? Just a little less pawns there for my, not just for my king, but just for covering squares for your pieces to go to.
Right.
Okay. Rematch or?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Best by test.
You don't know how good it feels to get an open Najdorf as black. You just see all this percent chance that you might actually win a game with black. Yeah, you can cheer, host a Mahogi. Totally. I mean, in preparation, host, I do tend to try and look up games where my opponent hasn't played too well. Like, not for the sort of psyching up purpose, but just to figure out like what is some weakness this player has, right? What is something that could go my way? Um, and it's very very disorienting when you can't find one. Very very. I think it's only really happened to me once when I was like preparing for Pranav Anand, but like just like not being able to find any weakness or any relative advantage for yourself is like very depressing.
I was gonna say Pranav.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like seeing how they lose. I like seeing how they win. Kind of like what their style is and like what they want, what they're trying to get. I feel like that's helpful. Yeah, I had a heck of a time preparing for this one GM who's like Najdorf and Grunfeld expert, and every game was just either comfortably making a draw or slowly outplaying his opponent. And then the only like two games I could find where he lost, his opponent played knight f3, and they had this like kind of positional game, and then he sacked something and lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I play knight f3,
Good choice.
and we made a draw. Hard fought. Um,
Sounds reasonable. Do we care what our online ratings are? Not a ton. I mean, sometimes while I'm playing a game, I want my rating to go up like 6 points in the sense that I'm trying to win the game instead of losing it.
I do care. Not as much as I care about my FIDE rating, but I care more than I care about. I don't know, my credit score.
Nice, you found a good comparison. Thoughts on the Scotch opening? You could play it. Can you do dojo talks with Feingold? Haven't considered it. I think Hosta Mahogi, sometimes somebody says something that they think applies to everyone and then finds out it only applies to them.
Hmm.
They say, yeah, everybody XYZ sometimes, and then it turns out, nope, only you. Yeah, us too. Us too. Yeah, Jesse seems to have to be pretty solid about dealing with what anyone else might say about him. Oh, Kostya and I are fighting like crazy now. Yar! Two moves left for somebody to claim an edge. Somehow. As Jesse would say, I don't know. Does he ever do that with you, Kostya? Play like games with you, and then when he plays his move, just claims he doesn't know?
Mm-hmm.
Like abnegating all responsibility.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta find one more move.
Yeah, make it a good one.
It's the move I'm going to be remembered by until the next game. I don't know. Just throw it out there. Oh, and now I have to make a draw for real quick
That wasn't the move you wanted?
before one of us flag. All right. So.
But you didn't mean to play A4?
No, I meant to play A4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just don't know if it was
All right,
the right
good.
move. Yeah.
Good sealed move.
Good sealed move. All right. So, I think I'm doing great at the end, Kostya.
Yeah, it didn't go how I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
Um, did you notice how chess.com changed their thing to now it no longer tells you your mistakes and blunders? It tells you how many best moves you made, excellent moves, and then
Yeah.
mistakes.
Yeah, they really went through like a positivity retreat or something. They've all been
Yeah.
on a retreat and they came back just jazzed. There was one thing I allowed you to do that I thought was good for you, or potentially very good for you.
What's that?
Let me see if I can find it. All right, after rook c8 on move 16, I thought maybe knight c6 was very good for you.
Oh,
What did you think of this? I thought it was like a very forced line of knight c6, knight d5, knight e7, knight e7, queen d6.
yeah. Black goes, I don't know, rook c6 at the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is what you thought too, right? Knight d5, knight e7,
Yeah,
knight
actually, I don't
e7,
know. I didn't really think much of this.
queen d6. So if I go rook c6, I get back rank mated
Wait, how?
by queen d7, queen d8.
No, I trade queens and
Oh,
rook
you're gonna trade
c6.
queens on d6. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'd first wanted to play rook d8 to ensure more trading. Um, but then you get a4 at the end here, and I thought I
Hmm.
was really close to losing this endgame, like pawn takes, bishop takes, king c7, bishop b5. Oh, I didn't see a3 in this position. I don't know if that's a move. I was planning rook a8, rook d1, knight c6. It felt really close to lost.
Hmm.
Um, and in fact, now that I put the position on the board, I see that rook d5 threatening rook c5. I can't play f6, so I do start to lose. So I think my instinct
But
was
rook
right. Was right there.
c5, there's king b6.
Then you trade on c6 and take d5. You're hitting h5 and the a pawn's weak. I think it's winning for white.
Wait, you trade and take where?
You play bishop c6, king c6, rook takes e5.
No, after rook d5, f6.
Rook c5 and then king b6. Oh man. Okay. All right. So I don't know. Okay, but I think you might be right that it'll be a little bit better for me if I trade and then play rook c6. Because now the knight's a little bit better on c6 against this a4 move. Maybe.
Hmm.
Maybe. Still a scary move.
Still annoying, yeah.
So, yeah, I still don't see what I do after a4. So I think that might
Hmm.
refute my opening.
Uh-huh. Hmm. Okay.
It's unfortunate for me. Yeah, knight d4 hosted in c3, and
Yeah.
I still lose a pawn on the queen side. Not to mention, I'm fighting the bishop with the knight, and okay, maybe my whole thing doesn't work. And then similarly, Kostya, I would say your whole c4 just didn't work.
Yeah, this rook c5 was strong. I didn't have a good answer there, basically.
I thought you would bring the knight back to b3. Make rook c5, knight b3, and maybe just make me repeat.
Yeah, maybe in a game I would do that, but
Yeah,
here I don't know. I just thought I have to try something.
yeah.
But I wasn't, yeah, really interested in repeating.
Maybe you could try queen a5, sort of emphasizing that you're trying to play on the side of the board that your king is on, and you want to play like rook c1 and
Mhm.
bother me about my isolated a pawn in the endgame. Yeah, in that other position, Hosta, you're right. Knight a7 doesn't lose a pawn yet, but it's not really clear how black would ever get off the back foot. They're going to sit there with the knight on a7. Clenching. Okay, maybe c4 is not so bad if you could just go knight b3, queen a5.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I'm saying maybe your c4 move is not so bad if you follow it with knight b3, queen a5. I
Oh,
could
I see.
believe that white is somewhere between equal and better here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've seen some ideas in these positions with like white, yeah, going like rook c1 and
Uh-huh.
even like giving the d pawn somehow, but yeah, I don't really know where that is or how that works.
Right. So like when I played knight b6, for example, you could do something like knight a5, knight takes d5, something like that sometimes works, right? And then c4, kind of getting the bishop into the game.
Something, yeah, but yeah, I have
But
no idea.
but here, because the knight's dangling, it just didn't feel like the tempi were quite right. It's like
Hmm.
c4, there's knight e3, hanging a piece, knight c6, queen d7. I'm still kind of on your knight. You can trade it on e7. King takes c4. That's an option. But again, I get a tempo off of knight e3 to sort of fix my rooks. So it doesn't seem
Yeah.
by any measure to be impressive for white. So I think in this case there was no need to sack the pawn, and you were right to sort of trade on b6 and then maybe even queen a5 instead of knight a5 from the very beginning.
Hmm.
Just sort of announcing the endgames where you want to be. No. Bishop d8.
Hmm.
That's stupid because then the knight's not good enough.
Let me
So
check the database on this one.
okay, I'll check this weak engine meanwhile. The weak engine says knight a5 is correct, and you're slightly better. Wow, and it likes your move c4 better than knight c6. What?
Hmm.
C4 is
Yeah,
better
c4
than knight
felt
c6?
good.
It, I guess it sees a defense to me in the knight c6 thing. So I missed what the crux of this whole game was. So knight c6 is not as good as I thought it was. Why is that? Wow, that's weird. It says not to trade the rook. And now if white plays a4, king e7, rook d2, rook d8. Wow. Powering out the other rook with that tempo. And then rook d1 is so strong that white has to play king c1. And black has time to just hold their stuff together now. Dang.
And what is one on rook c5? It was knight b3 and then rook c8.
Let me see. In the game. So it approved of your c4.
Let's
And
go.
it says rook c5 it doesn't like because of knight b3. And will it be queen a5 like I thought? Queen a5. It
Queen
actually thinks
a5.
you're like quite a bit better after queen a5.
Um,
So it says I should have not even played rook c5. Never imagined that. Like, I expected the knight retreat, but I didn't think that would like refute me, right? Like, you're retreating away from c6.
Hmm.
The
So
queen
wait,
falls
bishop
so
d8,
low.
white is just trading and taking a pawn?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In fact, now that it's thinking a little bit longer, my weak engine is saying I should play bishop d8 and sack the pawn and then play a5 with kind of
Hmm.
a, an opposite colory kind of position where white's d pawn's not that good. And most of all, black hasn't let the white bishop get loose.
Right. So what does white do here? Knight d2? Or is there something else?
I don't know. It says knight d2, but it says you're better after any move. a4, bishop e2, knight d2,
Okay.
etc. And I think it's going to say that I should have not played rook c5 and should have just traded on c4 instead. A simpler move. Yeah, bc4. I assumed you had to play knight c4 because of bishop c4, rook c5. Computer agrees. It says knight c4 is best, although it says you can also play rook c1, playable. Knight c4. Then I play like queen a7. And now you could play probably rook c1 or queen a5 or something. It says you've got, plus tiny bit. This engine's not very strong though, Kostya. It's just the
Hmm.
chess.com
Hmm.
default, but it says white's a little bit better, plus 0.4 or 0.3.
Cool. Okay.
So everything was good up to here. So I can play this line. I'm not completely refuted by that endgame. And with c4, you keep your pull.
Yeah. Instructive game.
Yeah, totally. More?
Hmm.
Chess.com doesn't know how to alternate colors?
Yeah, I guess it's okay. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a little disorienting in a one-on-one match. They're probably trying to equalize a color from 20 games ago for one of us, but okay. All right, I'll move on to allowing g4 variations.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah. In fact, I'm very new to moving my h pawn. I used to always allow it. G4,
Huh.
G5, everything.
I'm gonna give you one more chance. Oh wow. And castle.
So he didn't want to play an English attack after all. Just keeps developing pieces and stuff.
Yes, Mr. Toaster. Against Karyakin.
Yeah.
Famous Knight C7 game.
Yeah, this line is so theoretical, folks. There's like a danger of getting to move 20 without having played any new moves.
Or losing.
There's also the danger of losing before you even get to move 20. By the way, folks, if I'd played a4 last move, I think Kostya could have maybe played this crazy move, knight b to d4.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that.
Spent some time trying to reinvent the wheel by calculating this position for myself. I thought so too, host Mahogi. Yeah. Uh-oh. I didn't expect that move. Ah! Okay. I don't know. I don't know, Jesse. I don't know. All right. Absolute madness.
Yeah, another childish preparation.
Um, I wonder at the end what's going on.
Yeah.
Your bishop's covering that a3 square from there, huh?
Yeah, that was the idea. I thought maybe b3.
I mean, my main idea was to go bishop a2. Which I think was winning if you'd taken on d4 or e7. But I don't know if it works with the bishop here. So, of course, you don't even have to take with your king. You could just move away. But let's say a critical line would be taking with the king.
Mm-hmm.
Check. King a1, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Pawn takes c2. Queen takes c2. And now your bishop's stopping my a3 move. Maybe I can play a3 anyway? Can take it with the pawn. I go knight b4. Queen b3. Knight c2. Rook c3. I don't know if I could calculate this even in classical.
Mm-hmm.
Is the king better on b1 maybe even?
Maybe on a3, white goes b3.
With the king on
Let's say
a1.
a1.
King
Mm-hmm.
a1. I take to avoid the queen trade. Here, a3, b3. Yeah. So then knight b4, I guess I have to keep going forward.
Night before I take on b4.
All right, take it. Queen takes. Bishop c4!
Yeah.
Oh. Just kind of refuting the whole thing. Let's see if I can invert the move order and play knight before you've got control of c4 for the bishop. Before. So, well, now queen d2 might be logical, giving me trouble with the
Queen
knight.
d2. Yeah.
But a3, I have double check and mate. Okay, so I can still play a3.
But a3, b3?
Yeah, you go b3. Sure.
Oh, I see some questions in the chat. So yeah, we're sparring the opening. So we're just saving time by not
checkmating.
playing out the full blitz game. Yeah.
Okay. So I have no idea what's going on, but you might have refuted my whole thingamajig.
I knew you were gonna sack the piece. I thought you just wanted some b3 stuff. That's a good idea. I should keep that in mind.
You're thinking b3 for me? That would allow a queen trade, right?
No, I mean, I just thought that's the next move. I didn't see the bishop sack.
I ask the computer monster. Holy moly, Kostya. The computer monster says I should play rook d8 first to kick your bishop off of a3. What a beast.
Oh.
What a beast. Then your bishop has to retreat.
What if I go e5?
E5. I imagine it'll be knight takes e5 or queen d5. Queen d5 looks pretty good.
Oh, queen d5 is, yeah, annoying.
G to the G. So it says you should retreat your bishop. But with my rook not on the c file, does bishop a2 work? Computer says it's playable. It says queen b6 is a little bit better, but that bishop a2 is already playable. So my idea wasn't so bad, Kostya.
Okay, nice.
Kick the bishop off a3. Then go for bishop a2, b3, king b1, knight b4. And it says you're not dead. It just says that black's doing okay. Terrifying for everyone, but that rook d8 move is cool. Okay, so good, I've turned it back off. Up to here is theory, right, with g5. And normally black plays what, knight e8?
Yeah, wait. Can you show me the move order again? Oh, actually, I can look it up.
The move order that we did at the beginning?
It says castles, b5, g4,
b4.
b4. Right, okay. I want to look up the theory here.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's going to be like some games.
Kostya with the jokes.
I feel like we could just check some games. B4. Okay, most people are going knight d5 on b4 when you played it, it looks like.
Knight d5 without g5, huh?
Yeah.
So saith the prophet. So saith we all.
Okay, so that's a position. Okay, so knight e2, a5, g5. So what was this a4 knight d4 idea?
I don't know. That was when you
I was thinking
played
about knight
g5,
c5
right?
there, which apparently has been played once.
G4 knight c a4 knight c5 has been played. Yeah.
A couple 2400s made a draw. But it looks like most, well, okay, that position's not super explored. It looks like knight h5 is definitely also also been played.
B5, G4. B4, knight D5. Okay, so sorry folks, this database here is showing that after G4, B4, it's more popular for white to just play knight D5.
So I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So in the game, when I went knight d4, you went e d4, bishop takes f4, knight c6.
Mm-hmm.
I went king b1,
Yeah.
and you went queen a5.
Yeah.
But why not? I was thinking you should just go b3 there right away,
Okay.
and then I think I go cb, ab, a3,
Yeah. I thought so too.
but then you just have d5.